Good afternoon. I wonder, could I have your attention, please? And continue to enjoy your lunch. I'm Jerry Adelmann, president of Openlands. And it's just thrilling to look out across this room and see such a vast crowd of friends, supporters, and partners as Openlands celebrates 54 years of conservation leadership. Thank you all for joining us today. And most importantly, for all you do collectively to enhance the environment and quality of life in our metropolitan region. This place we call home, where the Great Lakes meet the Great Plains, offers unique opportunities for residents to experience rare nature close to home. And Openlands believes that nature is vital to all people and that they should have access to green space close to where they live. We have been very fortunate in Illinois to have had strong leadership from many elected officials since Openlands' founding by the Welfare Council of Metropolitan Chicago in 1963. No one, however, has been more dedicated and effective than today's head of our congressional delegation, our senior senator, Dick Durbin. With this audience, he needs no introduction. We are delighted that Senator Durbin is with us today, and please join me in thanking the senator and inviting him to the podium to say a few words of welcome.
Jerry, thank you. This may be a politician's dream. I just gave a speech in the other ballroom. So it's great to be with Openlands. Thank you very much. Sincerely, I mean it. I want to congratulate Sophia Shaw. I just had a double congratulations for her well-deserved recognition today for her work at the Chicago Botanical Garden. And all of the work that she's put in it has been an inspiration to the conservation community. I'm here today to celebrate your good work. I want to tell you how I started in politics. I was a college intern in the office of a United States Senator. His name was Paul Douglas. Paul Douglas once wrote toward the end of his Senate career, "When I was a young man, I wanted to save the world. In my middle years, I would have been content just to save my country. Now, I just want to save the Indiana Dunes." Saving the Indiana Dunes was Paul Douglas's favorite and last campaign. What he learned over his career in academia and public service is that you can get a lot of honors and awards. But if you succeed in saving a parcel of pristine open space for future generations, you've left a great legacy indeed. Over 54 years, Openlands has created a legacy across Illinois. I'm proud to have worked with you on several of those projects. In 2012, another portion of Openlands' legacy began to take shape, the Hackmatack National Wildlife Refuge. Yes. I did a small part, but I did bring out the Secretary of the Interior, Ken Salazar, to Hackmatack to see it personally and to take the tour. That National Wildlife Refuge, named for an Algonquin Indian word for the American tamarack tree, is the first wildlife refuge within 100 miles of the city of Chicago. It will open up a new world of outdoor appreciation, recreation, and education, not just for the residents of Chicago and Illinois, but Wisconsin as well. This refuge will eventually protect 20,000 acres of diverse habitat, including prairies, streams, pristine forest, and it'll be home to rare natural communities, unusual glacial landforms, and abundant native plants and animals. And it will protect endangered and threatened species. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of Openland's greatest legacies, the 19,000-acre Medewan National Tallgrass Prairie. I will tell you, Whenever the Base Closure Commission in Washington goes to work, politicians get nervous. You're afraid you're going to lose something critically important. And years ago, one of the things we lost was the Joliet Arsenal, a complex that served our nation and national security well through the World War II and many other conflicts. We wondered what was next for this vast expanse of land, largely in Will County. Openlands worked tirelessly to ensure the protection of a tall grass prairie, one of the most important conservation initiatives in our state. The prairie got an important update last fall. Here's a news alert: bison. As part of a 20-year experiment to restore Medewan to its native landscape, the National Forest Service and the National Forest Foundation teamed up to bring 4 bulls and 23 cows back to the land. Just this summer, 2 bison calves were born on the prairie, bringing the bison herd to 38. None of this would have been possible without the support of Openlands. Openlands has already secured an immense, rich legacy for our region and our state. Your work doesn't stop with these projects. As I sat with Jerry, we started making up a checklist of the next project that we're going to be taking on. We need to help farmers keep their lands instead of converting it into development, to help neighborhoods plant and care for trees. And because of your work, we've been able to push legislation in Congress to protect special places. Thank you for your great work. It is an honor to be with you today and continue to work with you in the future.
Thank you, Senator Durbin, for your great leadership in Congress. You make us all proud as Illinoisans. You know, people have always been vital to the longevity and effectiveness of Openlands. We have a strong mission and vision for the 3-state region, but most importantly, we have the strength of people, tremendous supporters like all of you in the ballroom today. I want to echo the sentiments of our board chair, Rich Carlson. We also have a very dynamic and dedicated team of board and staff. They impress me every day with their passion, leadership, and hard work. Will Openlands board and staff please stand to be acknowledged? Openlands was one of the first conservation organizations in the nation to focus on a large city and surrounding region. Today, 87% of Americans live in metropolitan areas. At Openlands, we hope to continue our important work within this ever-expanding region well into the future. Connecting metropolitan residents to nature where they live is more important than ever, given our nation's changing demographics. One of our longstanding board members has an important message to share with all of us today related to Openlands' resilience and sustainability.
I mean, I loved what I did. It was very rewarding, but it was a very stressful environment. And when I got into nature, the stress disappeared, and I became a different person. And it really gave me serenity, I think, and able to go back to work. Well, I'm Tim Richie, and I've been on the board for almost 20 years. They somehow haven't thrown me off yet. I don't know why. But it's been one of the most wonderful experiences of my life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Frankly, I was asked to join by one of our founders. It got me so enthusiastic about what Openlands was doing for people and how it was opening up opportunities for people that would not have otherwise been able to enjoy nature and the outdoors and conservation. It's transformational in some of these neighborhoods, how these people have really become unified in their desire to make things better. We have opened up opportunities for people to go and enjoy areas where they would not have otherwise have access. We have the Lakeshore Preserve, where people have the opportunity to go see the wonders of Lake Michigan on a beautiful bluff. And now we're also beginning to work on the Hackmatack Wildlife Preserve. This is going to give people in the region a greater opportunity to be able to go and enjoy and appreciate nature and space and conservation. Well, you know, there's nothing like being part of a really successful organization. What is really exciting is how wonderful the people are, how talented our staff is, how dedicated our board is. I have made Openlands a beneficiary of my estate plan, and I hope that this is going to be something that our other donors decide to do, because I think that by joining the Green Legacy Society gives them an opportunity to be assured that our children, our grandchildren, and the region as a whole will continue to do these wonderful things for people.
Thank you, Tim, for being such a great board member. You inspire us all. Openlands has always been an innovator. Today, we are changing the paradigm of conservation by incorporating farmland and locally grown food into the conservation equation. Protected farmland provides a buffer between development and natural areas and ensures that we will have access to healthy food into the future. For example, at Hackmatack National Wildlife Refuge, farmland protection plays a critical role in our strategy to protect nearly 20,000 acres. This year, with the Liberty Prairie Foundation as partner, we published an important land access guide for local food growers. It is available on our website, and I encourage all of you to take a look. Last week, we celebrated a major milestone, 25 years of Openlands tree keepers. They are a dedicated core of citizen volunteers who care for Chicago's urban forest. Under the umbrella of the Chicago Region Trees Initiative, we are working with Morton Arboretum and many other partners to establish tree keeper chapters throughout the 7-county Chicago region. I would like to share with you a brief video that features just a few of the nearly 1,800 treekeeper volunteers.
We determined that a tree care, advocacy, and citizen stewardship program was what we needed to do. And in order to do that, we needed to bring the best and brightest of tree loving from the region together to do that. So what we figured out is, in order for people to learn and appreciate and care for trees, they really need to understand trees. And so we did everything from tree ID, which can be very overwhelming because there's so many out there, to tree physiology and how they grew, to how to take care of them, how to plant them. And then we asked people to give back service hours to help us in this large goal of caring for our urban forest in the Chicago area.
Can you imagine this city without trees? I've been to Dubai, okay? And I've been to Abu Dhabi, and I've been to the Arab countries. And you can just tell, if you don't see trees around, you can tell the difference in the air quality, you can tell so many different things.
Having trees nearby, we know reduces crime. We know it calms us. We know that oftentimes we feel like family when we're amongst the trees that we love and we're around. So trees are community, and they're very important to all of us.
My son is a tree keeper, Patrick Small. His son, Khalil Shelton, and Malik Martin, and myself, Patrick Small Sr. I ran across this Openlands brochure, and I said I would sponsor 2 or 3 youth for that Openlands program. And in doing that, I said, well, in order for me to provide the transportation, I should go.
So it was very important for me to understand how trees work, how do they grow, how can I prune them, and how, if they're sick, how can I take care of them, because they're so important to our environment. I think that the Tree Keepers program is one of the best things that people can do. Whether or not you're going to be working in your community, even just for your own backyard, it's just an amazing thing to really understand what it is that trees give us.
Openlands works at different scales to provide nature connections for all citizens, from tree keepers, community and school gardens, to helping to create nature preserves, parks, gardens, and land and water trails for everyone in the region. This year's Conservation Leadership Award recipient understands more than anyone how vital nature is to people's well-being. She has expanded access to nature for communities across the region. She has shepherded a great institution to even greater accomplishments in science, stewardship, and education. She is one of Chicago's real conservation heroes, as well as a very respected leader in the global conservation community. I am truly honored to count her as a valued colleague and trusted friend.
Openlands 2016 Conservation Leadership Award recipient Sophia Shaw retired earlier this year after a tremendously successful 9 years as president and CEO of the Chicago Botanic Garden. Love of nature runs in her family. Her father, Patrick Shaw, sits on Openlands' board of directors, and Openlands holds a conservation easement on the family property. After working for both the Art Institute of Chicago and the Museum of Contemporary Art Chicago, she became vice president of exhibitions and education at the Field Museum. She brought that experience to the Chicago Botanic Garden, overseeing an ambitious strategic plan, the renovation and expansion of the garden's educational, research, and visitor facilities, and the publication of several books. She understands the power that gardens and nature can have on everyone. During her tenure, the garden initiated new programs like Windy City Harvest, which provides urban agricultural classes in partnership with the City Colleges of Chicago, Chicago Public Schools, and After School Matters. The garden also expanded existing partnerships like Plants of Concern, which monitors rare plant communities at sites including Medewan National Tallgrass Prairie and the Openlands Lakeshore Preserve. Her years leading the garden through an era of growth reflect her commitment to nature, conservation, and the Chicago region. As her time at the Chicago Botanic Garden drew to a close, annual visitation had increased exponentially to over 1 million per year.
Beautiful gardens and natural environments are essential. People live better, healthier, and more satisfying lives when they can create, care for, and enjoy gardens. The future of life depends on the degree to which humans understand, value, and protect plants and the healthy habitats on which they depend.
Janine McNally has joined me at the podium. Janine is co-chair of today's luncheon and a former board member of both Openlands and the Chicago Botanic Garden. And Janine has known Sophia since she was a little girl and has seen firsthand the evolution of her amazing career. Sophia, Janine and I would like to ask you to please join us here on the podium. So just a note about the award, which is right here. It is an original artwork by Catherine Game, featuring Illinois' state bird, the cardinal, And Catherine presently has a wonderful exhibit at the Peggy Notebart Nature Museum. She's also a staff member of Chicago Wilderness, which this year is celebrating its 20th anniversary. To bring things full circle, both Openlands and Chicago Botanic Garden were founding members of Chicago Wilderness. So, Sophia, we are honored to give you this award. No one is more deserving, and thank you for everything that you've done, and I know will continue to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Durbin, Janine, and Jerry. You have each played such a critical role in the success of the Chicago Botanic Garden that has brought us to this day. This is a big room. The first Openlands luncheon I attended many years ago is still a clear memory. I think I was sitting in a table in the very, very back, and I found that being a part of this remarkable community of conservationists and truly nice people, I found my resolve to make a difference. The question I couldn't answer then, however, and still can't today, frankly, is why is this great group of naturalists sitting in a dimly lit ballroom at an urban hotel wearing uncomfortable shoes? So next year, please join me, and Arnold, why don't we take everybody out to the Cook County Forest Preserves and celebrate over a campfire? And there together we could sing my favorite song, "This Land is Your Land." I say this because during a hike this summer at the Grand Canyon, I thought a lot about Woody Guthrie's lyrics. Surrounded by the exquisite natural beauty and also people from all over the world and every corner of America, I sang the words, "This land is your land. This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me." I began to reflect that the efforts of everyone in this room are driven by both the powerful message of nature and people in this song. And never before has this message been more important. Now more than ever, we must go up to our rooftops, green or otherwise, and speak passionately about our confidence in two things. First, our belief in the deep, enduring values of democracy that have made and make today this country great for people of all backgrounds. And second, our belief that this land and all lands should be preserved and protected for every living creature. Openlands' mission brings this sentiment home. Jerry, I love the quote in your annual report that says, "The quality of life, our health, happiness, and economic prosperity is directly linked to the quality of the natural and open spaces that weave through our communities." Yes, when we gather like this, we are friends, colleagues, and doers. We, everyone in this room, are the nature workers, the ones who are giving all we have and all we are to the cause of conserving and protecting both the habitats and communities on which all life depends. This award might recognize me, but I'm only standing here because of other people. From my earliest days, I was taught to cultivate the power and beauty of nature by my father. And from my mother's model, I learned how to value the essential power and energy that arises when diverse people come together. And for almost 20 years, much of my career, I have benefited from the patient tutelage of one of the world's most accomplished and generous scientists, Dr. Greg Mueller. He taught me so much. And most importantly, I'm here only because of the hard work of everyone, staff, board members, donors, partners, volunteers, with whom I have served at 3 remarkable conservation institutions, the Chicago Botanic Garden, the Field Museum, and the Forest Preserves of Cook County. Openlands, by giving me this award, you honor one of your own. My work is yours. This honor really is your honor. So everyone, please remember that as the nature workers, your efforts and dedication really do matter in this world. A world in which there is clearly much pain, but there is so much more beauty, love, and joy. So know that even when it may not feel like it, through your work and commitment, you are delivering healing and inspiration now and for the future. I'm grateful today to share the stage in a moment with Audrey Peterman and also to represent all of you. Thank you.